Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's learn computer science. Hi, today we are going to start with Unit 3 of AS level, which is computers and their components. Syllabus reference show understanding of the need for input, output, primary memory, and secondary, including removable storage. So let's start. We are going to understand computer system hardware functionality. What are the all components of a computer system when it comes to hardware part? Okay, you all know that computer system is made up of hardware components, right? And they all work together to perform different tasks. These components mainly they fall into four main categories. One, input devices. You all know that computer is just a dumb machine, you know. If at all we need to give some commands, we need input devices. So using these input devices, we give data to the computer. Then we have output devices. Whatever tasks we do using computer system, the output or the information we receive via output devices. Then we have memory. Now memory, basically we can, divide it into two types of memory. One, primary memory, and secondary memory. So we'll be talking about primary memory as well as secondary memory. So primary memory, it is used to temporarily store data and instructions in the computer system. And secondary memory to permanently store data, including, removable storage as well, for example, USBs, you know. So we'll talk about all these components, that why exactly we need these devices, these components, whether they are input, output, primary memory, or secondary memory, right? So let's start. First of all, input devices. Now, as we have already discussed, that input devices, these are used to get data into the computer system, whatever commands you have, whatever raw data you have, it is entered to the system via input devices. So the purpose is to provide a way for users or other systems to send data or instructions to the computer. And what is the need? From here you can create, your pointers about need for input devices, which is exactly what your syllabus, learning outcome is mentioned in your syllabus. So computers are not intelligent by themselves. They must receive data or commands, and input devices are used to do so. Without input devices or without input, a computer would have nothing to process. So input devices, they enable interaction between the user and the system. So you send all your commands or data to the computer system using input devices. So some examples are keyboard, using which you enter text, mouse, touchpad, very common input devices I have mentioned here so that you understand the need of these devices, right? So mouse touchpad is for selecting and interacting with items on screen, scanner, digitizing physical documents, microphone capturing audio input, camera, webcam capturing video or images. So basically, without input devices, computers cannot accept commands or process data. Easy. So now you have understood need of input devices. Let's understand what is the need of output devices in a computer system. So output devices basically communicating results back to the user, right? So purpose is to allow the system to communicate the results of processing back to the user. So a computer processes data, but the user must see or hear the results, right? And that is done via output devices. So output devices, they translate binary data into human perceivable forms. They allow interaction, feedback, and usability, right? Some examples, again, very common examples I'm mentioning here. Monitor used for, display, shows visuals and text. Printer produces physical hard copy output. Whenever you need something on a paper, you print it out. Speakers play audio output. Projectors enlarge visual output for larger audiences. So, in nutshell, output devices make data usable and understandable for humans, right? Now, let's talk about primary memory, which is also known as main memory of the system. What exactly it is? It is memory that CPU uses to store data and instructions temporarily while programs are running. So it's also called as main memory. Like you have your brain as your main memory, right? Whatever you see, whatever you uh, hear, everything directly goes into your main memory, which is your brain. So primary memory is basically the main memory of the system where CPU, interacts with this main memory while it is doing various tasks, right? So need for primary memory, it is needed for fast data access by the processor. Without RAM, the CPU would constantly rely on slower storage, reducing performance. And ROM is needed to store essential instructions like the bootloader. So if you talk about your primary memory, you have RAM, you have ROM, right? So if we talk about RAM, which is random access memory, its function is temporary storage of active data and instructions. Is it volatile? Yes. And it is used for running programs and open documents. So whatever your documents are, applications are open, they goes into RAM. What is ROM? It is read-only memory and it stores permanent instructions. For example, all instructions which are required for startup of the computer. Volatile? No. And it is used for BIOS firmware, right? So whatever is there in the RAM, once you turn off your computer, that vanishes. But whatever is there in ROM, that stays there. So RAM is volatile and ROM is not volatile. So RAM is basically fast and crucial for multitasking. And ROM ensures that computer starts up properly, right? Now let's also talk about secondary storage, and that also includes removable storage that we use for permanent storing our data. What exactly is secondary storage? It is non-volatile memory used to store data and programs permanently, even when the computer is turned off, of course, because it is non-volatile. So even if your computer is off, your data is still saved and stored. Purpose is to hold the operating system, one, software applications, and user data. It ensures that data is not lost even when you turn off your computer. Provides long-term storage for files, backups, and of course, multimedia. Now, what exactly is the need for secondary and removable storage? To retain data even when the system is turned off, to store larger volumes of files, applications, and operating system components, to backup, of course, transfer or share data easily, needed to make sure that files are not lost during shutdowns or power failures, right? So if we talk about types of secondary storage, we will cover all this in detail later in the videos that are, upcoming. Some examples of secondary storage are magnetic storage, solid state storage, optical storage, cloud storage, and we will cover, as I said, we will cover all of these in detail in my upcoming videos, right? As part of removable storage, it is a subset of secondary storage, right? And it is designed to be portable, basically, and of course, can easily be disconnected from the computer system. Some examples: USB flash drives, external hard drives, SD cards, DVDs, CDs. Examples, whatever I have mentioned, I guess all of you are using these in your day-to-day life as well. So you can very well understand what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of it. So these are portable, of course, easy to carry and transfer between devices, useful for backups, data sharing, and temporary storage. And you can often, plug and play. Disadvantages includes lower capacity than internal drives, of course, risk of loss or damage to the data, and some formats like optical discs are becoming obsolete these days, not so frequently used like earlier it was used in our daily lives, right? That's all for today. In next session, we'll cover embedded systems. Till then, bye bye. Take care.